Let's get ready to rumble!
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Rundown Keem. Welcome back to Keeping It Real, where we always keep it raw, real, and relevant. I'm your host, Rundown Keem, and today's episode is one that everyone needs to lock into: mastering time management, strategies for productivity and balance. I know y'all have heard the saying, we all have the same 24 hours, right? But let's be real. How many of us really maximize that time? Whether you're grinding to get that promotion, balancing your family, or working on your side hustle, time management is a skill we all need to master. So today, we're breaking it all down. Before we get into it, y'all know I gotta shout out our sponsors. Big love to W.GG. Y'all can use my code RundownKeem for 20% off their energy drinks that keep you locked in and focused. Also, shout out to Eclipse.GG. Use code RUNDXWN10 for a discount on their premium subscription. If you're trying to elevate your game and productivity, these are the tools you need. All right, let's get into this. First, I want to ask, do you feel like you're always running out of time? Are you constantly stressed about juggling multiple priorities? If that sounds familiar, stick with me, because by the end of this episode, you're going to have a blueprint to take control of your day. Now let's jump into the first key: mastering your time, understanding prioritization. One of the most important steps in mastering time management is knowing how to prioritize. I want y'all to think about this. Not every task on your to-do list holds the same weight. Some things are urgent, while others are just important. Let me put y'all on game right quick. There's a tool called the Eisenhower Matrix. This tool separates tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither. A lot of times, we spend too much energy on urgent tasks that are not important in the long run. That's where the problem lies. For example, I remember about a few months ago, Chasers and Chasettes, I was running myself ragged, trying to get everything done in one day, editing podcast episodes, streaming on Twitch, creating content for TikTok. It was non-stop. But you know what? I realized I was doing a bunch of small things that didn't push me closer to my bigger goals. I was just staying busy, not productive. This is why it's important to take a step back and ask yourself, what task will move the needle for me long term? What aligns with my purpose and goals? Once you figure that out, prioritize those tasks over the smaller ones. Trust me, when you focus on what's important, you'll get so much more done. Next up, let's talk about time blocking. This strategy has been a game changer for me. Time blocking is about breaking your day into dedicated blocks of time for specific tasks. You gotta create focus blocks where you're locked in, fully immersed in the task at hand without any distractions. Let me break it down for you. Say you're working on editing a video. Instead of having your phone nearby and jumping between tasks, block out a solid hour or two where all you do is edit. No phone, no social media, no distractions. It's just you and the task. This technique is golden because it forces you to stay in the zone. Studies show that multitasking can drop your productivity by as much as 40%. Think about that for a second. 40%! So, by time blocking, you're actually making the most of your energy and focus. For example, every Thursday, I block off my morning strictly for podcast recording and editing. No distractions, just straight focus on creating the best content for you all. And I gotta tell you, when I started time blocking, my output went through the roof. Speaking of distractions, let's address something we all think we're good at: multitasking. I gotta keep it real with y'all. Multitasking is a fucking myth. We think we're getting more done by juggling multiple things at once, but the truth is, we're just spreading our attention too fucking thin, Chasers and Chasettes. When you try to do too much at once, your brain has to switch between tasks, and that switch burns out more time than you realize. In fact, research from the University of London found that multitasking can drop your IQ, leaving you with a lower level of focus. Imagine how much better you'd perform if you gave your full attention to one thing at a time. I used to think I could be, Mr. Macho Man. I could respond to emails while streaming, while also editing my podcast. But I realized not only was the quality of each task dropping, but I was taking longer to finish them. So now I keep it simple, one task at a time. And when I'm done, I move to the next. That, Chasers and Chasettes, is how you maximize your efficiency. Now, here's something a lot of people forget when they talk about time management. Rest. If you're always on go mode, eventually you're gonna burn out. And burnout can take weeks, even months to recover from. So part of mastering your time is also mastering your rest. Think of your mind and body like a battery. You can only go for so long before you need to recharge. This means getting enough sleep, taking breaks during work, and allowing yourself to have downtime. Let me give y'all a personal example, all right? There was a point, some year, it was around last year sometime, Chasers and Chasettes, right? Where I was grinding nonstop. I was streaming, I was recording, I was editing all day, every day. But I hit a wall, man. I hit that shit hard too. I felt mentally drained, physically tired, and I felt creatively stuck. It was because I wasn't resting. Let's just keep it real. When I started incorporating time for rest into my schedule, whether that was a 20-minute nap or just a few hours off social media, it changed everything. My productivity went up and my mental clarity was on point. A lot of people talk about time management, but they forget to mention it's goal setting. If you don't have clear goals, how can you effectively manage your time? Your goals are what give your time purpose. Here's what I recommend. Write down your top 3 goals for the year. Then break down those goals into monthly and weekly targets. Every Sunday, I sit down and look at what I want to accomplish for the week ahead. I set realistic goals, but I make sure they're pushing me closer to my long-term vision. But goal setting isn't about just writing stuff down. It's about reflecting too. At the end of each week, I ask myself, did I accomplish what I set out to do? What went right? What could I improve? And this reflection helps me fine-tune my process so I can be more effective moving forward. One of the hardest things to do when it comes to time management, saying no, especially when it comes to things that don't align with your goals. But here's the thing, Chasers and Chasettes, every time you say yes to something that isn't important, you're taking time away from what matters most. I remember a few months ago, I kept getting hit up for collabs that I knew just really weren't the right fit for me, but I didn't want to disappoint anyone, so I said yes. Man, listen, that shit took up so much time and energy that I could have been putting towards my own projects. And what did I get out of it? Not really that fucking much. I got something, but not much. So I learned that saying no isn't selfish, it's smart. Now let's talk about distractions, specifically digital distractions. We live in a world where our phones are constantly buzzing, notifications are pulling us in every direction, and social media keeps us scrolling for hours. But to truly master time management, you need to control your digital environment. One strategy that's helped me in doing a digital detox, I set certain times of the day where I'm completely offline. No social media, no emails, no texting. I do this every morning before I start working and every evening before bed. This gives me time to focus on what's important, whether that's planning my day or winding down to recharge. I recommend y'all try it. Turn off notifications or even put your phone on Do Not Disturb during your time blocks. You'll be surprised how much more focused and productive you can be. Now, I want to touch on something that's been really helpful for me, having an accountability partner. We all need that person who checks in with us, pushes us, and holds us accountable to our goals. Whether it's a friend, mentor, or a coach, having someone who keeps you in check can make all the difference. For me, I have a few close people who I can call when I'm slipping or when I need advice on managing my time better. They'll remind me of my goals and make sure I'm staying on track. If you don't have an accountability partner yet, I highly recommend finding one. It could be someone you look up to or even someone who has similar goals. You'll push each other to be better. And Chasers and Chasettes, I like to, put a pin in that and give you guys a little example. So as you all know, I stream on Twitch, and we started about a couple of months ago, myself and a friend of mine. And one day he just came home from work because we had been talking about streaming now for about 2 or 3 weeks prior to the situation that I'm about to explain to y'all. So he just came home one day and he was like, you know what, bro? We've been talking about it. Just fire up your stream. I'm about to go live right now. And we just fired up our streams. We went live and we haven't looked back, chasers and chasettes. So when I say, someone who has similar goals, find those people that have similar goals. Find those people that look at the world in a similar vision as you, and you will elevate. You'll go so much further than just hanging around someone who doesn't have anything figured out as to what the fuck they have going on. Anywho, moving along. Let's talk systems, because the key to managing your time isn't just about working hard. It's about working smart. Systems are habits or processes you put in place that help you be more efficient. For example, when I'm creating content for my podcast or social media, I have a whole system in place. I batch my work, so I'll record multiple episodes in one day, edit them all on another day, and schedule my social posts for the week in one go. This way, I'm not bouncing from task to task and wasting my time. Creating systems is about building habits that save you time in the long run. Take some time to think about the tasks you do regularly and how you can create a more efficient process for getting them done. You can't do everything on your own, and I had to learn that the hard way. Delegation is key to time management because it allows you to focus on the tasks that only you can do while passing off other responsibilities. At first, I wanted to do everything myself. Editing, marketing, responding to emails, managing social media, but after a while it became too much and I was burning out. So I started delegating. Now I have a team that helps me with editing and social media so I can focus on creating content and growing the podcast. If you're in a position where you can delegate tasks, do it. Whether it's outsourcing some work or even asking a friend to help. Don't be afraid to share the load. It'll free up your time to focus on what's important. Time management isn't just about scheduling your day. It's about setting boundaries to protect your time. This means saying no to distractions, limiting social media time, and when you need to work, creating clear lines between work and personal time. For example, I've set boundaries around my work hours. When I'm working, I'm fully focused. But when it's time to relax or spend time with the family, I don't let work interrupt that. I don't respond to emails, I don't take business calls, and I don't check social media during my off hours. Setting boundaries allows you to stay present in whatever you're doing, whether it's work or personal time, and it helps you avoid burnout. You might get your time management strategy down to a science, but here's the thing. It's always a work in progress, chasers and chasettes. Every few months, I evaluate how I'm managing my time and ask myself what's working and what isn't. This way, I can make an adjustment as needed. For example, a few months ago, I realized I was spending too much time on tasks that weren't moving me forward. I had to take a step back, reevaluate my goals, and make changes to how I was spending my time. That's what time management is all about. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. I recommend doing a monthly or quarterly check-in with yourself. Review your schedule, your goals, and your productivity, and make changes if necessary. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, what's the big deal about time management? Well, let me tell you, mastering your time is about more than just getting things done. It's about creating balance, reducing stress, and ultimately living a more fulfilling life. When you're in control of your time, you're in control of your life. You have the space to focus on what truly matters, whether that's your career, your relationship, your health, or your personal growth. And that's the ultimate goal, right? To live a life where you feel fulfilled and in control. I can tell you from personal experience, since I've started prioritizing my time and setting clear boundaries, I've felt more at peace and more focused on my goals. Speaking of outsourcing, another way to get your time back is by using technology. There are so many apps and tools out there designed to help you stay organized and manage your time effectively. Let me put you on some of the apps that have changed the game for me. One of my favorites is Trello. It's a project management tool that lets me map out all of my tasks visually. Then there's Google Calendar. I swear by this. For keeping track of all my appointments, events, and deadlines is super important. For those of you who are big on focus, try Forest. It's a productivity app that helps you stay off your phone by growing virtual trees while you work. The cool thing about tech is that it takes some of the heavy lifting off of your shoulders. These tools are like assistants that keep you on track without the cost of hiring someone. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to time management. Managing your energy. It's not just about how many hours you have in the day. It's about how much energy you have to make the most out of these hours. There are certain times of the day when we all feel more energized, creative, and productive. For me, I know that my peak energy is at night. I'm a night owl, chasers and chasettes. That's when I schedule my most important tasks, the ones that require the most focus, creativity, and effort. On the flip side, there are low energy times in the day, like right after lunch, where I know I'm not at my best. So during those times, I schedule easier tasks or even take a break. Recognizing and working with your natural energy levels is critical to maximizing productivity. So ask yourself, when do you feel the most energized? Once you identify those peak times, use them to knock out your most important work. While having a structured plan for your time is important, it's also essential to learn how to be flexible. Life doesn't always go according to plan, chasers and chasettes, and sometimes things pop up that throw your schedule off. The key is not to get frustrated when things don't go exactly as planned. Instead, build flexibility into your day. Leave some buffer time between tasks or appointments in case something runs over. That way, you won't feel rushed or overwhelmed when the unexpected happens. I've had days where my entire schedule got derailed because of one thing. Maybe a last-minute meeting, and an unexpected phone call, or something personal came up. But having that flexibility allowed me to adjust and still make progress on my priorities. Let's talk about the enemy of time management, procrastination. We've all been there, chasers and chasettes, putting off tasks because they feel too big or we're just not in the mood to tackle them. But here's a hack. I've learned over the years, break down those big tasks into smaller tasks and make them more manageable pieces. For example, when I'm working on a new podcast episode, I don't just sit down and try to write or record everything all at once. That would be overwhelming. Instead, I break it into chunks. Brainstorming ideas, outlining, scripting, recording, editing. By the time I'm done, the task doesn't seem nearly as intimidating. Another technique I use is the Pomodoro technique. Work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It tricks your brain into thinking the task isn't that long, and you'll find that those 25 minutes fly by. Here's a quick and easy strategy that can make a huge difference in how you manage your time. The 2-minute rule. It's simple. If a task will take 2 minutes or less, do it immediately. I use this to let all my small tasks pile up, like responding to a text or an email, filing paperwork, or even tidying up my workspace. But now, if it's something I can knock out in 2 minutes or less, I do it right away. This stops small tasks from snowballing into bigger distractions later on. It might seem small, but over time, handling those quick tasks immediately adds up and keeps your workload manageable. When we talk about time management, we can't ignore the importance of goal setting, but not just any goals. I'm talking about SMART goals. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's break it down. Specific, be clear about what you want to achieve. Measurable, know how you'll track progress. Achievable, make sure it's realistic. Relevant, align it with your overall goals. Time-bound, set a deadline. Setting SMART goals helps you focus your time and energy on the things that matter most. When your goals are clear, your actions become clear. If you want to get serious about mastering time management, you need to start tracking how you actually spend your time. I know it sounds tedious, but trust me, this is one of the most eye-opening exercises you can do. There are apps like Toggle, or even just using the timer on your phone to track how long each task takes. Once you see where your time is really going, it becomes a lot easier to make adjustments. You might be surprised to find out how much time you're wasting on social media, for example, or how long certain tasks really take. Time tracking helps you become more conscious of your habits, and from there, you can start optimizing how you spend your day. I know we've been talking a lot about to make the most of your time, but let's not forget about the importance of downtime. You can't be in hustle mode 24/7. Your brain and body need time to rest and recharge. Downtime isn't just about sitting on the couch doing nothing, although sometimes that's exactly what you need, chasers and chasettes. It's also about doing things that relax you, like hobbies, spending time with loved ones, or going out in nature. When you schedule downtime into your routine, you'll find that you're more productive when you do get back to work. Balance is everything. Ever heard of the phrase, eat the frog first? It's a productivity technique that basically means tackling your hardest or most dreaded task first thing in the day. The idea is that once you've completed the toughest task, everything else seems easier by comparison. It also prevents you from spending the day procrastinating or dreading that one big task or thing is on your to-do list. So, when you're planning your day, look at your to-do list and ask yourself, what's the frog? Then eat it first. Time management isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. What works for one person might not work for another. And that's why it's important to embrace continuous learning and adaptation. Stay curious and keep exploring new methods, strategies, and tools. If you find that a certain technique isn't working for you, don't be afraid to switch it up. Experiment, test, and refine your approach over time. That's how you grow. Your morning routine sets the tone for your entire day. If you start your morning in a rush or disorganized, it's likely your whole day will feel chaotic. On the other hand, if you start your intention, you set yourself up for a productive day. Take some time to craft a morning routine that works for you, whether it's meditation, a workout, reading, or simply having a cup of coffee in peace. Find something that grounds you and sets the stage for a successful day. Self-care and time management go hand in hand. When you take care of yourself, whether it's mentally, physically, or emotionally, you're in a better state to handle your responsibilities and make the most of your time. Don't neglect your self-care practices in the name of productivity. Taking care of yourself is what fuels long-term success. Lastly, take time to review and reflect on your progress. At the end of each day or week, ask yourself, what worked, what didn't, what can I improve? Reflection is the key to continuous improvement. It allows you to fine-tune your time management strategies and ensures you're always moving in the right direction. Chasers and Chasettes, we've covered a lot today. From prioritization to time blocking, from goal setting to setting boundaries. And I honestly hope that y'all took some valuable gems from this episode and are ready to start mastering your time. Remember, time is the most valuable resource you have. Once it's gone, you cannot get it the fuck back. So make sure you're using it wisely. And if you need a little boost along the way, remember our sponsors. Head over to w.gg and use my code RundownKeem for 20% off. And don't forget about eclipse.gg for all your premium editing needs. Use RUNDXWN10 for a discount. Before we wrap up, make sure to tune in to next week for our episode on overcoming procrastination, how to stop delaying and start doing. It's gonna be another heavy hitter. As always, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at RundownKeem, or shoot me an email at keepingitrealwrundown@gmail.com. I love hearing from you all. And if there's a topic you want me to cover, let me know. I'm your host, Rundown Keem. This has been Keeping It Real. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all next week on Friday. Peace and love. Peace.
Bye-bye.